All right, so it ended Brazil 3, Ghana 0 in France. And I think the Black Stars can take consolation in the second half performance because at halftime, it looks like it was going to be an embarrassing scoreline. But I think Otto Addo did his job, although it was already late. But I think, well, the Black Stars can actually hold their heads high after that game. Oscar Adogundare is right here, and we'll quickly take a review of that game. Howdy, welcome once again to Nigeria.
Thank you, Femi. It's always a pleasure. It was a very, very interesting game for me. I don't know about you. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I really had a nice time.
Yeah, I did also. So much to talk about, Howdy. But let's begin with first half. I think Brazil were just too much for the Black Stars to handle. You know, from the midfield to the attack. It seems the Black Stars didn't have the answer, and of course, it's reflected in the scoreline at halftime.
Femi, to be honest with you, when I saw the score, when I saw the lineup, I immediately thought Ghana were going to be in a lot of trouble, because if you saw the lineup, we had Ghana started with the 4-4-2.
Yeah.
And in that 4-4-2, the engine of the team was supposed to be the midfield. But unfortunately, that midfield, we had 3 offensive players with only a Thomas Partey that still has a very big question mark on his fitness as the lone man who is supposed to sit in front of the defense. So that partly explains why Brazil had a field day just waltzing through the Ghana midfield as if they were not there. So for me, I think that was the first issue that I had with Otto Addo's selection. Like I always say, Femi, I do not like criticizing coaches. I just want to point out the things I feel could have been done better. That in that kind of situation, I expected that it would have had like at least 2 defensive midfielders, or at least there will be a holding midfielder who will help Partey try to curtail the offensive-minded Brazilians. Imagine a Neymar coming at you, Richarlison coming at you, the Real Madrid guy coming at you, and Rafinha coming at you at the same time, with only one person being the mask in front of the central defense. So I guess that was partly responsible for the problems that they had. So for me, that was one of the first lessons I think we should take on board, that when you are going to play a very offensive team, it is better to start cautiously. That's, I think, one of the first lessons I took away from that game, that once you're going to play, and going forward, there will be a lot of games. Of course, Ghana will not be playing Brazil every day, but this one that they've played, and that's the essence of playing these friendlies, for me, to see where the teams need to buckle up. Now we know that when you're going to play a team that is as offensive-minded as Brazil, you should be cautious in your attacking play. You should learn to first soak the pressure by fielding players who have the defensive men who can do the dirty work for you, instead of rushing to play an all-out attacking formation against a team like Brazil. It was bound to backfire, and that was what exactly happened.
Okay, Coyote, still talking about the first half. You talked about the question mark on Thomas Partey's fitness.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the reasons why the midfield, the Ghana midfield crumbled in the first half, because that the backline was so exposed on so many occasions. Now, going forward now, let's even look at it. How many defensive-minded midfielders are even available to Otto Addo? Let's say, for instance, you'll be playing Portugal at the World Cup, and Brazil provides an opportunity of looking at how Portugal, will look like against the Black Stars at the World Cup. But let's look at other options available to put Otto Addo, because I know that is what he will be thinking about at the moment.
Femi, that takes me directly to my second observation about this team. Femi, I do not want us to get something. I want us to get something right. The players do not lack quality. It was just that they have different skill set from where they played. That's one. And secondly, it is not about who played in that. Even with that, Ghana would have done better if the players had what I call positional awareness. If you see all 3 goals without exception, Femi, check you can do a playback in your head, or you go back and watch the tapes. You will see that at least there were at least 5-6 Ghanaian players in the box when Brazil scored. Each of those 3 goals, there were at least 5-6 Ghanaian players who were standing, practically not doing anything. So that for me was going to also hurt you. If you play against the Brazil and you do not have positional awareness, you don't know who is coming, you cannot detect danger even before it became apparent, that was always going to hurt you. So for me, I think that's not doing that, not being able to have a leader, obviously, on the pitch, like the goalkeeper. For me, I think Walacott was too gentle. I expected him to shout at his players. Yeah, that's what goalkeepers do for me. I expected him to shout at the players, you go this way, you go that way. Hey, move it, because he can see the whole spectrum of the pitch, unlike the players. So I expected him to do that. A goalkeeper is always a second coach on the pitch. But he did not do that. So the players sometimes, they didn't know who was clocking behind them. They didn't know they should have just moved a bit out. Look at the first goal. There were no defensive bodies on either of the 2 goalposts. That is basic defending, Femi. That is what you learn in primary school. That when a corner kick is going to be played, you have 2 players, one player each, mounting each of the posts. Nobody. So the Brazilian player had an easy, for me it was like an empty net, because they were supposed to be people there who were not there. So these are the kind of things I think was wrong. Positional awareness, don't forget, the first one was in the lineup, the kind of lineup set up with. The second one is positional awareness. Where are your players at particular times? They should be aware, be able to sniff danger and cut it out before it happens.
Okay, Kyle, let's go to second half now. I'm sure Otto Addo actually saw that he did a lot of things wrong in the first half, and he quickly corrected them right at the beginning of the second half. That was why, of course, the Brazil could not get any goal in the second half, even though they came close on a number of occasions. But let's look at it. Let's look at those substitutions.
All right. For me, I think the substitutions we are supposed to do what the substitutions did actually for me, Femi, was that they cut down the number of errors that were made in the first half. Don't forget that in the last program we were talking, and I said you have to minimize the kind of errors that you make, because if you make errors, you foul players, you do not clear your lines in time, you hesitate before you do what you're supposed to do, you are handling a loaded gun to Brazil. So those errors in the first half that led to the 3 goals were drastically cut down in the second half, and it showed in the fact that they were all able to hold Brazil. Like one of my friends will always say, he will say Brazil won the first half, they played the draw in the second half, Ghana played the draw in the second half. So for me, they were able to play draw in the second half. So it was Ghana, so that was basically the issue. What he did most for me was the players he brought in cut down the number of errors. Then the other players who stayed on the pitch from the first half also realized what they did wrong in the first half. They cut down on all of those errors, and it helped them. So on the basis of what they played in the second half, there's hope that probably the result did not reflect the effort that they put in. That I want to take away from me, that probably the result did not reflect the effort they put in. Judging by what we saw.
Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. Let's look at Inaki Williams making his debut for the Black Stars, as well as Mohamed Salisu. You also had Tariq Lamptey, and of course a whole lot of other guys. But let's look at the difference they made coming on. Inaki Williams, of course, he added fire to that front line for the Black Stars. And
brilliant, Femi. That would be my 4th takeaway from the game, and I'm happy we were on the same wavelength. Inaki Williams showed one thing. That was that even though Ghana did not score in the second half, they showed attacking intent. They showed that they had heart. You saw that on the couple of occasions that he had the chance to shoot, he did not hesitate. He caused a lot of trouble on that wing of play. So for me, with a player like him, with a player like Jordan Ayew on his day, they will have, and unfortunately, hopefully, Benjamin Tete will be back into this squad. If they have a personality like Benjamin Tete, they have Inaki Williams, and they have Jordan Ayew, if they keep pushing with those Bulldogs, one way or the other, goals will come. It's not every day that they will play a defense that is as resilient as this Brazil team. And I'm very sure that by what Otto Addo has seen in this game, he's going to have taken his own valuable lessons away from it, and you will see that it will reflect in their next game. So for me, the fourth takeaway from it is that Otto Inaki Williams, Salisu Mohammed, and the young guy from Brighton show that they were quality addition to this team. Yeah, Lamptey. They show that they are quality addition to this team, and Ghana should be proud to have them.
Okay, you took that on my mind, because I was going to ask you the performance of Mohamed Salisu. And in the second half, when Ghana resorted back to a 3-man back line, I think there was a bit of stability in that back, because you have Alexander Ajiku, you have Mohamed Salisu, and of course you had what's his name now? You have this Amate, playing further to the right. Yeah, there was a bit of stability in that back line. But how impressed were you with Mohamed Salisu? Remembering all the controversies that surrounded him before finally decided to play for the Black Stars.
Femi, I will tell you that the effort to bring Mohamed Salisu was worth it. From what I saw in this game, fine, there were moments of anxiety, but I tell you, his talent, his experience shone through in this game. You saw that there were times that he was last man, his intelligence showed through. So for me, in a 3-man defense, he will always be the outstanding player. He showed that he had intelligence. He had the positional awareness that I said was lacking in the first half, showed in the second half. That's what the hallmark of a good player, Femi. You sense danger before it happens. There were times that you see him step out before the Brazilians got the ball. So he's the leader. Mohamed Salisu showed in this game that he's a leader, and Ghana have a quality player on their hands. That's one. Who has impressed me in this game? I know you're going to ask. The goalkeeper did, regardless of the 3 goals that he shipped.
Wonderful. You
cannot blame him for those 3 goals. The goalkeeper tried his possible best, and other players too. It's not as if they were that bad. If you didn't watch the game and you heard that they lost 3-0, you might think it was a one-way traffic. No, I think the players, what they did was they tried too much to impress. They did not really settle down to play their game, what they are capable of doing. They didn't do it, including Kudus. All of them, they did not start immediately. They wanted to impress. Yeah, we are playing Brazil. Let's show them that we are also the Brazil of Africa. Let's show them that we are also the Brazil of Africa. It showed in their game, Femi. And for me, I am very, very happy with this performance. I said before this game that I wasn't interested in the scoreline.
Yeah. I was going to ask you that.
I still am not interested in the scoreline. Yeah, Brazil won. Good luck to them. But the basis of this performance, it is a good place to start. Don't forget that there are some players in this team that were playing together for the first time ever, that they had never played together. So they will need some gelling. They will need to get together as much as they can, so that by the time they play their first game, they will be a better team than what we've seen.
Okay, Kayode, of course, Andrea, showed again that he is a leader. Of course, you almost got a goal for the Black Stars. Of course, unfortunately, his header thundered on the crossbar. Again, of course,
how did I manage to miss him out? Yeah, Andrea, you did what a captain should do, even with the kind of attention that he had in the Brazilian box. I think he had the closest attempt at goal. If I'm not mistaken, he had the closest attempt. That attempt was in the 57th minute. I had already stood up because I thought, this is the goal we talked about. Don't forget that James was predicting that Ghana would score a goal, regardless of the outcome. I thought that was his prediction coming true. I'd already stood up where I was watching until I saw that the ball hit the crossbar and just went out. So for me, it showed that, going back to our discussion, does IU still have a place in this team? Yes, Femi. He still has the heart for the big occasion. He showed it in this game. He's a captain. He's a leader. Even though some people will think, where does he play now? No, there are some things that you cannot buy with money. He showed it today, and for me, I'm very, very happy to see him play this well.
Okay, Kayode, you mentioned a couple of lessons that can be taken away from this game. But I know that Otto Addo will have a textbook of lessons that he must have written either him or Chris Hutton or of course but
exactly.
But ultimately, what do you think he will take away from this game?
For me, I think it will take away everything that we've talked about. We've talked about, obviously, but the most important one for me is that he will know that there's work to be done.
I was expecting that.
Yes, if the prediction and prophecies that a lot of people have been making about this team is to come to pass, if they are truly going to win the World Cup, like most people are saying in Ghana, then there's work to be done, Femi. This is not the finished article yet. This team will not win the World Cup as it is now. With constant pummeling, panel beating, taking away, addition and subtraction.
Unfortunately, you do not have much time to do that, Kayode.
You said?
Unfortunately, Otto Addo does not have much time to do that.
Femi, you know the beauty of all this. I think I've talked about this before. There's something they call a tournament bounce. You go into a tournament, you have done not too well in qualifying and even in preparations, but you go into the tournament, whether by stroke of luck or hard work, you get into your stride, you win your first game, Femi. That's very, very key. If you're able to get a first win in the first game, it puts a spring in your feet. You begin to have confidence in yourself, and it can just push you as far as you are able to go. So all they need is that tournament bounce. Tournament bounce is what happens to a team when they go to a tournament, win their first game, and before you know it, if they win the first game, all they need to go through is to get like a draw. And make sure that even if they're going to lose a game, the game that they're going to lose, it will be a low-scoring defeat. So that means they're already assured of qualification of the next one. And for me, once you get to the knockout stages, anything is possible. So I pray for that tournament bounce for the Black Stars. Once they're able to get it, everything is possible. I have that belief.
Okay, Kayode, let's look at the quality of opposition in Brazil. Brazil played 17 matches during the World Cup qualifiers. They won 14 and drew only 3. Yeah. That tells you the quality in that team. Well, how much of it is?
I was going to even open my discussion with that we should put Ghana's loss in context. That they are playing a team that has been rated as a favorite for the World Cup. They are playing a team that is regarded as probably the best team in the world at the moment.
Yeah.
So for me, if they're able to hold that team to a 0-0 in the second half, let's forget what happened in the first half. That shows that they have something to offer. And you know what? Most times we found out that the best teams don't usually win competitions. I mean, in the 1982 World Cup, nobody would have bet against Brazil winning the competition. But they got stuck. So things do happen. I want Otto Addo and the boys to keep the hope alive that they can do well, excellently well. But my target, like I told you, and like I'm going to repeat, is that I'm not looking beyond the quarterfinals. Anything after that, for me, is a bonus. Anything after that, I'm telling you.
Okay. Does the game tonight present a Ghana of what to expect against Portugal? Because
definitely.
Brazil, Portugal, the similarity is always there.
Yeah, definitely. It showed that they should know that even though Portugal will not be Brazil, but then they should expect a level of opposition that is almost as high as what they saw against Brazil. You understand? So for me, in fact, it is a very, very good opportunity to measure what they have against what they are expecting to face. So playing Brazil is a good test for them. They will take lessons away from it, and hopefully by the time they get to play Portugal, they will be a better team than what we saw tonight.
Okay, Kayode, of course, we'll be talking more about Ghana's game against Nicaragua next week on our next program, but let's look at it. What do you think Otto Addo would like to maybe put together before their game again? We know that Nicaragua does not stand the quality that Brazil, of course
definitely.
But of course, if we want to correct one or two things, but what are those things you think that at least maybe give Ghanaians something to cheer? Because a lot of people will feel beat down tonight by this scoreline. But what do you think you will want to do differently against Nicaragua?
I think you should just start the game against Nicaragua with the players that finished the game against Brazil. That's my honest opinion. It should just start the game like that. Because when you don't forget that nobody's shirt is assured yet. He's still trying to panel beat the team to see what formation works well. Even the 4-4-2 that we said he played at the beginning of the game before he invited the three-man defense is just part of him trying to see what works with which players. Unlike, this is international football, Femi, unlike club football where you can say, we don't have a number 10, let's go and buy from Barcelona, let's go and buy from Bayern Munich. Here you have to make do with whatever you have. So he's trying to get his players together, see who works well with who. So I would, if I were him, I would start the next game with the players that finished this game. So from there, we'll begin to see some connections, who can play well together, who and who do not fit together, and they will begin to make his deductions from that, Femi. So for me, the future is bright for this team. Very, very bright.
Okay, Kari, as you round up, how did you feel about Cameroon losing to Uzbekistan? I never saw that coming.
That was a shock for me, one. But then, if you know Cameroon very well, Femi, in their history of their World Cup participations, they do not do well in tournament preparations. That's Cameroon for you. They do not do well. Although it was still a shock that they would lose to Uzbekistan because they had a very, very strong team, Femi. They had a very strong lineup, and that they were losing to Uzbekistan was a kind of surprise for me. But like I said, they've never done too well in preparatory games. So I won't set any store by that. Let the hour come, then the men will show up. I believe Cameroon, Ghana, Morocco, all our African representatives will do us proud. That's my belief. But the result against Uzbekistan is shocking, but then it is Cameroon. I expected it.
So you didn't see that it's a sign of what is to come, right?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. No, I do not. I do not agree. They are ultimately better than what they showed against Uzbekistan. I'm very sure of that.
All right. Hi, Dogundari. Thank you very much for your time once again.
Thank you very, very much, Femi. It's been a lovely day.
Of course, I don't know whether you have some words for our fans before we.
Yeah, they should just keep the faith. This is just the beginning. This is just preparations. They should keep the faith. Ghana will come good. They should not worry about the result. They should not. I think I tried warning everybody before this game that it is not the result that counts. It is the performance. And for me, the basis of this, if I have to score this game, then I will score them a very strong 4.5/10. I'll score them a very strong 4, and that for me, for a serious student, shows that you are not where you are supposed to be, but you have the potential to get there, to cross over that halfway mark. So I'm sure that they can do good. The fans should just keep the faith. Know that this is just one in a series of games that they are going to play on their way to the World Cup. That's what I think.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kadi. For me, what I took away from this game is the second half performance.
Yeah,
because like you said, it actually showed what Ghana can do.
Yes, exactly.
And honestly, I was very impressed. Very impressed.
Yes.
Against the rampaging Brazilian side. Like you said, Brazil, these guys have been playing together for years.
Yes. They know each other with their eyes closed. So it is nothing to be ashamed of to lose to Brazil, Femi. There's nothing to be ashamed of in losing to Brazil. Let's just hope that they pick lessons, valuable lessons from the game and go on to improve and become a better team. That's my thing.
All right, Kyle, thank you. Okay, this is where we'll be ending this session. Although for Ghana, they'll still be searching for their first victory over Brazil at the senior level. But they said, you fight and run away. You fight
another day.
That's the case for,
I like that.
for the Brazilians.
Okay.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, our fans, this is where we'll be ending the review of the game between Brazil and Ghana. Of course, once again, it ended 3-0 in France. And hopefully, we hope that the Black Stars will make us proud at the 2022 FIFA World Cup. So next week, of course, before the game against Nicaragua, we'll be doing the extensive preview of that game on Nigeria Super Fans Forum. Thank you very much for always being there. Of course, how do you feel, Ghanaians, Ghanaian fans? How do you feel about this game? Please drop a comment in the comment section, and remember that the notification button, of course, you can just click it so that you can get our videos as soon as they drop. Thank you very much. Until next time, bye for now.